Hey, so it's about 4:30 a.m. I couldn't sleep. Um, Thoughts for the book just kind of running through my head, and conversation that I had with a friend yesterday talking about fear, and it makes me want to put it in the book. Um, I talk a little bit about this idea of when we talk about the voice in our head that is always chiming in about what you can't do or what you're going to fail at, that voice that um, it doesn't go away, and it's something that you have to constantly conquer, and over time it becomes easier with practice. Well, I got to thinking about it with fear because we were talking, and he talked about this dream that he had when he was younger. And it was a dream about he he had to get from point A to point B, and in between that location and him was a pack of wolves. And he said, he's like, I got to get there. So he starts fighting the wolves, and he equates it to kind of the old Batman TV show when he's hitting the wolves like one punch, pow, zap, um, and so he said he's doing that for a while, and he felt like he fought a bunch of wolves, and he looked around and realized he wasn't making very much progress, and at that point he gave up. And he said in his dream, it kind of zoomed out to like a bird's eye view, and he saw thousands of wolves around him, and they just swarmed him and tore him to pieces. And he said this really bothered him, this dream that he had. And he said years later he was talking with a friend of his, and they were at a bookstore, and she ended up pulling out a book of dreams, the meaning of dreams. And he asked her to look up what it meant if you had wolves in your dreams. And that particular book, according to him, talked about how wolves meant fear, or that you were facing a fear in your life. And so he took it as, in his dream, he was fighting his fears. And at the point where he gave up, his fears consumed him. And it obviously had a lot of meaning for my friend. And it's very true. When you stop fighting those fears and you give in to them, you're finished, you're done. And we have so many fears surrounded with different issues: fear of failing, fear of rejection, fear of not being good enough, fear of not being as good as this person over here, or not living up to your parents' standards. There are so many fears that we create for ourselves, and half the time we won't even go out and attack something or really try to put ourselves out there, just because of the pure fear of failing. And we talked about it, and we talked about that constant pressure, that voice in your head telling you not to do something. It goes back to our brain. The number one function for our brain is survival. Bottom line. And I was explaining to him how our brain does not know the difference between emotional or physical pain. So all of the experiences that you've had in your life that have brought you some type of pain, both emotionally and physically, your brain logs all that information. And from that point forward, it's your brain's job to keep you out of harm's way. So that's why we find ourselves avoiding things that lead to possible physical pain and emotional pain. It's our brain chiming in. If I have fear of rejection and I see a pretty girl sitting across the bar from me and I want to go talk to her, I'm like, man, I want to go talk to her. And my brain chimes in and goes, oh, hey, you remember the last time you tried to talk to a girl and she turned you down and you got your feelings hurt? We don't want to do that again. Let's stay in our little safe bubble. We're not going to put ourselves out there. Let's just stay here. Just have another beer. Just sit there and be safe. And that is our brain's job. And it's never going to stop. It will never stop trying to keep us safe. And so you constantly have to conquer your fears. I have a fear of heights. I enjoy going on roller coasters. I've been skydiving. I will climb a tall ladder if I have to. I realize that fear is there, and I don't let it control my behavior or my actions. The emotion does get triggered. I do feel that fear response, and I acknowledge it. It's there. I laugh at myself. I'm like, okay, there it is again. That anxiety that builds up, and but I still continue to act in the ways that I want to act. I don't let my brain tell me what I can and cannot do. So just focusing on the fear aspect of it, because that part where the brain keeps us safe, it creeps into different areas of our lives. But really focusing on the fears that we have, that we create, that are created from our past experiences, it's very limiting and can hinder us when we want to take any type of action, starting a business, meeting someone new, public speaking, whatever the case is. And that dream that my friend had, that really hits home, and that really sums it up. You have to, conquer those wolves, and they keep coming and they keep coming. And the minute you stop, you're dead. You're done. You're not going forward in life. That's it. So understanding that those fears, that little voice in your head, it doesn't go away. Understanding that is huge. And you can say, hey, thanks for chiming in. I'm still going to do what I wanted to do originally. So, something to think about. Gonna go to sleep. You guys have a good night for whoever's awake still.